Hello, my name is Bears Abdullah. I'm an active UK Muay Thai fighter out of Bournemouth, House of Pain. I've fought all over Thailand. I've fought in Lumpini Stadium, Samui International, Max Muay Thai, and I've fought in some really big shows in the UK. In this video, I'm just going to talk about some of the things that I wish someone had told me when I was younger, getting into the sport, the little fine details, and talk about the mindset of being a fighter. Fighting can be very complicated, but if there are certain rules that you abide by and listen to, you can make it a lot simpler and you could enjoy the process more. Consistency is key. Without consistency, unfortunately, you're not going to get very far in the sport. And being self-reflective. Do you reflect on your training? Do you reflect where you are in life? Are you actually doing the things that benefit you as a fighter? There's also other things that you need to look at, like your balance. Are you training enough, or are you obsessing over the sport? Things like this can really hinder your progress. When I was younger, in school I got bullied a lot. I didn't have an amazing home life, so when I discovered combat sports, the gym was like a second home to me. I was absolutely obsessed about it. When I was at school, I was thinking about the gym. When I was at home, I was thinking about fighting. But as I got older, bills, life got in the way, and I had to reshuffle to find my balance. I found myself working quite a lot and wasn't able to be as consistent as I wanted to be in the gym. So I took a big risk and stopped working as much as I did and got into the gym more. And since then I've been really consistent. Even on the days where I don't feel 100%, I still show up. A dear friend of mine once told me that if I can be consistent with my skincare routine, that I can be consistent with everything. And as funny as that sounds, it's true. I have now developed a really good routine that I enjoy in the sport, in making money, in making YouTube videos and social media aspects, but mainly just to train and to fight. And with that consistency, a lot of benefits have come, and that's why I feel like I've won a lot of fights this year. If someone asked me how I deal with fear and ego, with fear, I try and cut off pressure. I went through a really bad streak of losses and it affected me mentally quite badly. But now, when I'm on the winning side, funnily enough, I try and cut off the pressure. If I lose, I'll go back to the changing room, have my 5-minute sulk, and then try and forget about it and move on and learn from the experience. But when I go to like an away show and I'm fighting someone that's like a lot taller than me, might be better on paper, I just think to myself that I don't care, because this is not my hometown. I'm going to fight him. He's the one that's got to climb a mountain, and it's all the more sweeter when everyone that was booing you to begin with is still booing you because you just beat the homeboy. You can also use fear to create excitement, and it gives me that sort of explosive feeling, you know, in my stomach and to the tips of my fingers. When I feel that sort of fear and I feel like my stomach is churning, I take a second to myself and think that I actually really want to be here and I'm really excited to put on a performance. On the other side of the spectrum, there is ego. It's always good to be confident, but having too much of an ego can impact you as a fighter in a negative way. My ego got destroyed by my love for the sport. I'm always going to be a student, and I also like to teach other people and give them back for the community. But if you're always going around with a bruised ego and trying to be the big man, it's not going to help you. You know, there's always going to be someone around the corner that's going to knock you down a peg. Don't chase materialistic things. Don't be going looking for money as a fighter. It takes a long time to be able to fight for a good amount of money. Don't always look to get things for free off people like PTs, nutrition plans, strength and conditioning plans. You need to invest into the sport. Otherwise, the sport will never invest in you. Don't be worried about social media too much, right? It's always good to expand and network and to find maybe potentially ways to make money. But if you're not actually serious about the sport, it's not going to get you very far, and you're probably going to get found out real quick. I always say to people, especially when they're just starting out, you should try and be in the gym as much as possible. Because if you are only doing it once or twice a week, then you're going to learn half as much as someone that is doing it 3 to 4 times a week. Obviously, as you get more experienced and at a pro level, you will find your balance. but you should try and develop yourself into the sport as much as you can, with balance. Obviously, if you're completely obsessed by the sport and all you think about is Muay Thai, you will experience burnout very quickly. Do not be afraid of losses. I'm not someone with a perfect record. That's due to the fact that I fought people that are really good. If you have a almost perfect record, you should really question whether or not if you're fighting people that are at your level, or if you are just finding easy fights. But when you do lose, whether you had a good performance or not, there are lessons to be learned, and that's very valuable in your losses. If you look at Thai fighters, none of them are asking you for your record and how many losses or wins you've had or how many KOs. They're always going to say who they fought, how many fights they've had, because that's the experience. And that's why fighting, I would say, in Thailand is a much better experience than fighting in the UK. The UK has got this really weird cloud over it. It's almost a bit grey. As well as being consistent and obsessed with the sport, you also need to be objective. You need to constantly reflect and see if what you did there was the right thing to do. Are you actually perfecting your techniques? Are you really developing your IQ, or are you just numbnessly going through the basics constantly without actually putting any real thought into it? One way that I reflect is I sometimes journal how my week's going. Sometimes I talk about my fights with friends and things like that. I will video myself training, hitting pads, and look back at it and ask myself whether or not if it's actually any good. Am I actually improving in the sport? My coach and my wise friend Andy Lawrence always said to me when I was starting out, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Don't just try and rush into these things, you know. Muay Thai is a journey that you will walk on forever if you actually want to. You can be done with the sport very quickly if you feel like it's not for you. But for me, it's something that I'm going to live with for probably most of my life. I've been doing it for like 8 years. I'm only 21, so I've spent literally a third of my life just doing Muay Thai. And I've only just started getting the hang of it, I feel like, in the last year or so. But that last year or so has been really freeing and has made me a much better fighter, where I've been treating it like a marathon, not a race. I've been looking to the future and trying to plan and look at the bigger picture.